Alright, so not pretty, but I taped up all the holes except for 2 on the slow feed. This is the CremaLoop Slow Feeder. So, got my P64 with SSP multi-purpose burrs, which are slow grinding burrs. And I'm just going to dump them. Dump them in. This is low RPM, set to pour over grind size. So you can see it picks up a few at a time, dumps them in to that one hole, which falls into the grinder. Oh, I think there's a bean stuck under the tape. That's one problem with my mod. I'll get him later. This is how I'm heating up my V60 ceramic V60s. So what I do is I switch them around to get some condensation on the So I take the top one, rotate it to the bottom one, put the lid back on top. Easier to do with 2 hands, because usually the bottom one gets hotter than the top one, so that way they're equally hot. So today I'm going to test the Cafec, oh no, not Cafec, actually they're Origami filters made by Cafec. So this is the Origami one. I could tell because I folded the side, and look at how side is a regular size, like the crimping is normal sized. The Hario V60 ones, look at the size of that crimping. Maybe I could have folded it closer to the crimping part, but it seems like there's a lot more that you have to kind of fold out. So this is the newer package Hario V60 filters, made in Japan. I think the Origami ones are also made in Japan, but the Origami ones, like the Kinto brand ones, I like them because they have a blend of cotton in them, which maybe isn't great environmentally, or apparently they use a lot of pesticides, but I like the results in the cups, so we're going to see how the Hario compares. So I noticed texture-wise, this one may have a little bit more of a texture on the outside and more texture on the inside. Let me give it a feel again. Yeah, so that was the Origami filter. So this is the Hario filter. It does also have a texture on the outside, not quite as rough, and it's smoother on the inside. So you can see there's a little texture, but it feels smoother. I'll show you the inside of the Origami one. If I can, yeah. So you can see it's definitely more textured. Looks similar inside and out. This is the Origami filters. I forget what the Kinto ones are like, because I ran out of those. Yeah, I gotta order some more. I like those. I think those are my favorite. But I remember when I was doing the testing, the Origami ones were also doing well, but I think Kinto did the best, where like I did a series of different pour overs with one filter versus the other filters. The Hario that I was using at the time, I liked them, but then when I started comparing them to all the other types of filters, they were like the worst. I mean, they lost or tied more than any other. And the Kinto ones won the most, and tied. They either won or tied the most, with like the least losses. So I'd say they were my favorite. And yeah, like Origami, Abaca, I think like the T90s, they all did well as well. So I should note these are both O2 size filters fitting in I cut them down so they fit better in the O1 V60. It's a smaller size V60. So I don't know, I felt like this one was sitting nicer. This is the Origami in the smaller, in the white cup or lighter color cup, the white V60. I expect there to be more clarity maybe. It looks like it's like that fold doesn't seem to be affecting it that badly. Like it looks like this one's lifting up more. This is without wetting the filter. I'm not gonna wet the filter. But yeah, this one actually looks like it's fitting nicer, maybe because it's just the shape of the. I don't know. Forgot to cover the kettle again. Yeah, so these are pretty hot. Yeah, so without rinsing, I'm gonna try them. And hopefully this one separating a little, looks like it's separating a little more, is not going to affect it too much. Yeah, maybe it will. Maybe I should do a pour and pre-wet it. I don't know. All right, I'll do the pre-wetting pour. So I have these little cups for catching drips. I'm going to use those. So someone shared a trick that it looked really useful. So you start pouring in the center first, and then you focus on the seam. And then this is a small cup, so yeah, but still I'm seeing like, see that little loop? Oh, I didn't focus on the seam as much, but you know what? The Hario one is fitting better, it looks like, although there is a little hard. Okay, so it's easier to see where there's air gaps on the Hario one just because it's the darker colored V60. With the white one, it's harder to tell if it's touching or not touching. So you can see there's whatever. Yeah, and then there's a little separation there, but I mean the same thing happens there. We'll do it the way it is. We get what we get. This is why it's important to do tests a few times, because sometimes, maybe the filter wasn't sitting right, maybe messed up a pour, maybe, the temperature dropped too much between, when I was pouring on this one versus pouring on that one. So it's good to mix things up. Like next time, maybe I'll do the Hario one on this side, and I'll pour on that one first, and then instead of pouring on this one second, which is what I'm going to do, I usually pour on the left one first, and then I go to the second one. And yeah, sometimes if you're waiting for one to draw down, and then the timing isn't exactly right, that isn't exactly identical when you're doing two pour overs at once. But I like to do it that way rather than just doing one pour over and then doing another one after. I don't know, just seems more efficient. And also the temperature of the kettle, if it's off later, at least the temperature is going to be closer. But I think this is fairly consistent. I usually do 201 Fahrenheit. I'm going to try a little experiment and go 204. I'm also grinding a little finer, so a little bit of an experiment. We'll see how they turn out. So I just used the blind shaker tumbler, dropped them in, and I gave it a little shake to level it, because sometimes there's a little bit of a pile. Because I'm doing a hotter temperature, I'm going to do 1 to 15 ratio. Usually I'll do 1 to 16. So we're going to start with 40 gram bloom, 40 milliliters. And we're going to 210, I think. Actually, let me check my recipe. Yeah, so here's the recipe. So we're going to do one bloom, wait like a minute, then we got 2 pours, and that's it. So that's 210, 1 to 15 ratio with 14 grams in. So I want to stagger it a little, so I'm going to give it a little time before I pour in this one, and maybe keep the temperature consistent. I'll put that back on. Well, I don't think it's lost a lot of temperature since we have a full kettle pretty much. Alright, so that's been 30 seconds. I'm going to start pouring on this one. So we want to match it around 41 grams or milliliters. Just pour it nice and slow at the starting. Oop, went a little over. And I'm going to keep it off the kettle. So now we do an 90 gram pour. 90. I'm just going to pour mostly towards the center, but I also want to quickly make sure those are also getting wet around the edges. Oops, I want to keep the stream nice and smooth. All right, to 132. Oh, why did I didn't have this on the right mode. So we don't know how long that's been steeping. I mean, but it's probably been about a minute. So the other one's already drained, which isn't ideal. Put 132. All right, so now we're ready for our next pour or our last pour. So mostly on the center, go nice and slow. Does seem to be drawing down pretty quick. We're going to 210. 111. All right, so the last one, we did wait a little bit while the coffee bed was dry, so I'm gonna simulate the same thing. I mean, it's pretty dry. I don't know how long. Now we're doing the same thing. Go to 210, mostly on the center, nice and slow. The other one's drawn down already. Oops. All right, 211, same. So the other one was drawn down already before it even hit 3 minutes, which should be fine. Oh yeah, and this one I started the timer early, so should be at least probably around the same thing, 230, maybe 240, 250. Yeah, so both pretty quick to draw down. I could have ground finer, or I could have done more pours, because generally it slows down as you do more pours, more agitation. It will kind of clog the filter more. And I find you get higher extraction, or at least seems stronger to me, without having to add more water. So it's more concentrated and stronger. Yeah. Because, I mean, you can get more extraction if you pour more water through the coffee, but you're also watering it down at the same time. So it's kind of like, you know, kind of counteracts each other. It's a juxtaposition. Is that the right word? So my first impression, when these are both too hot, or pretty hot, the Hario filtered one has a little bit of a less clean aftertaste. Like it lingers, which is good and interesting, because it's like, I use the SSP multi-purpose burrs, and usually you don't get too much linger, and I like that. I like the linger. It's not bad, but compared to the other one. So, I mean, I'm getting the flavor notes of the coffee. This is a natural processed Ethiopian, which I think I'd like it better at a lower temperature. So I'm going to go back to lower temperature for this one. It is a light roasted coffee, but then it's also natural. So naturals, you're not supposed to, they're supposed to be easier to extract. You don't need to go as high temperature. Yeah, so I'm getting a little stronger flavor out of, I think. And like a cleaner linger, maybe it's not quite as long of a linger. Yeah, this one, the Origami, not quite as much of a linger, but it's cleaner and it's still there, and maybe sharper flavors. This one's a little more blended, but it's like, I don't feel like it, if I had it on its own, I would like it. I don't think it's bad for a cheaper filter. Not bad. It's a little more blendy tasting. Maybe this one has a brighter, oop, dripping. A brighter linger. Trying to pay attention to the acidity now. Yeah, this one has less acidity or less brightness, which might be good for some coffees. It still has some, but it's just a little more toned down compared to the Origami. So I like the acidity, I like the brightness. Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd say the Origami did better. Add a little sugar and see if that changes anything. Oh yeah, so with sugar, yeah, I really like this coffee. It's working nicely with the higher temperature, so with sugar added. Noticing more of the, I don't understand the people that say, oh, you're adding sugar to coffee, you're ruining the coffee. No, you're enhancing whatever sweetness is there or whatever flavors are in there. It's not competing with it. Unless you're adding honey or something that's strong tasting. I'm using organic cane sugar, and the only problem with this is they're bigger crystals, so it takes a little time to dissolve, but a little stirring and heat makes it dissolve pretty quick. Yep, still noticing the same thing. This one's got a little sharper flavors, more clarity. This is the Origami. This is the Hario filter. It's smoother. I mean, like, the acidity is toned down, which I could see some people liking, but there's a little bit of an aftertaste that's a little funkier. I don't love it. If you're looking for it, if you're comparing it, I notice it, but otherwise I probably wouldn't have noticed it. Yeah, a little more acidity. The Cafec, or the Origami one, did well. The Hario did well too, but yeah, if I had to choose, definitely the winner is the Origami, which is not like a super expensive filter, it's slightly more expensive. And the Hario does well. Like, a lot of people complain the older Hario filters were easy to stall. It seems like these ones are fast flowing, so I don't think stalling is an issue. I wonder if the not as clean aftertaste is because maybe those filters need rinsing. Oh wait, I did rinse them. I did rinse it a little. Yeah, I think it's just the coffee and the filter. Because it is a natural coffee, and sometimes you do get some funky notes. But yeah, on this one, it's less of a funky aftertaste. But yeah, none of them are really bad. It's just that little bit of like that bright aftertaste. It lingers, and it's like a nice a nice acidity, not overpowering, and it just makes you want to go back for more. And yeah, I find like it's the little things, the little differences in coffee that can make a big difference. I noticed when I was using the EK43, it brings out like a sweet, bright linger that I really like, or like actually it brings out like a natural sweetness, not just the linger, not just the aftertaste. But I noticed the EK, I was using one with the older pre-2015 Burrs that are sought after. I believe that's what they had. And it was probably badly aligned because it was giving out a lot of fines, but it still made really tasty cups, and I really liked it. Maybe it was the fines that were helping it because it brought out some sweetness. I don't know if that was the fines doing that, but it still had clarity. It still had like nice balance. It had good acidity. It was just all around like really good. And it just made tasty coffee. It brought out like a natural sweetness in anything, not like the Sweet Labs where it kind of seems like an artificial sweetness. I don't like, well, those are okay, but like the 64 millimeter cast Burrs by SSP, those were not great. I didn't notice sweetness in those. The Meissen was kind of better, where it sometimes brought out a sweetness. Those are by Option O. But yeah, it's a little different. Actually, I should revisit those Burrs. I gotta get those again to compare, to see if it can be like a good EK43 alternative, because I remember those did bring out some sweetness and they were kind of balanced and good clarity. And but at the time I was preferring the SSP multi-purpose just because the ultimate clarity was higher. But now I'm thinking like sometimes you don't want ultimate clarity, and a little bit of like that traditional like roasty, or that, you know, thing, it kind of reminds you that it's coffee when you get a little bit of bitterness. Not even bitterness, but like just that little, I don't know how to describe it, but like maybe it's body. It's something that reminds you that it's coffee and not tea. With the SSP multi-purpose, often you get very tea-like brews that are maybe not everyone's cup of tea. But this one turned out pretty nice with those burrs. And it's got a linger, it's got an aftertaste. So part of the complaint with SSP multi-purpose burrs is that often they don't have like a linger, they don't have a, it's just very quick finish. So like you taste it, the flavor's there, it hits you, and then it's gone. So a lot of times I do get that, and other times it surprises me. Maybe it's a matter of dialing it in just like perfectly, because other times I get really nice results. So where you do get some linger. Maybe I'd get more if I brewed this on the EK43, and also I'd notice there's a lack of sweetness. I only noticed it when I started comparing the SSP multi-purpose to the EK43 burrs, that I really enjoyed the sweetness that it was bringing out. So yeah, maybe I'll try the Meissen again. But I did try like the 80 millimeter, like the original Lab Sweet ones in my friend's EK, and I thought like it did bring out like a nice sweetness that was kind of natural, but it also seems like it's kind of forced. I don't know. I don't like burrs that colorize the coffees, that like change the coffee into like what the burr tells it to. It should be like a synergistic thing, and I felt like the EK brought out like what's good about the coffee naturally without colorizing it too much. And that's what I always liked about the SSP multi-purpose burrs too. Like it just presented the coffee as the coffee was. But there's all different, it's like a painting where like you have different brushes, different paints, and different interpretations of a subject. So like, or even a photograph, it's like, you know, you can use a different lens to photograph, or just process the colors differently, or, you know, so many ways you can capture a scene. And that's kind of what a grinder and a burr is doing to your coffee. It's trying to capture the, present the essence of that coffee or whatever. So different interpretations, none are, I guess, right or wrong, but I think I'm discovering what I like and what I'm looking for after lots of burrs and grinders, and And yeah, lots of experimenting. Yeah, I should try the Maizen again, because I think that might be a good, maybe that's a good budget EK43 alternative. A couple people have also recommended the Commandante C40, so like I should try that too. It's a hand grinder, if you don't know. But yeah, it's kind of like, it was the original like high-end hand grinder that everyone wanted, maybe. But yeah, people have compared it to the K series with the Easy Presso grinders, and the word on the street was that they're basically the same, except you know, Easy Presso is cheaper and also has nicer features. It has the external grind adjustment, and you can get a version with like a foldable handle and all that stuff. Commandante is like old school, where you just have the dial inside, maybe bigger adjustment steps. So not. Also, it can't do. Oh wait, it can do espresso. Yeah. Yeah, but people love that grinder anyway. So yeah, maybe I'll give it a try and see if the Burrs are any different. I did have a K series a long time ago. Not that long ago, but a while ago, and it was good. I liked it. But yeah, I like the ZP6 more now, I think. Although I don't know if I had them both at the same time and compared them. All right, I'm ranting. The end.